years, I was obsessed with tracking down weird videos. Just weird videos and weird films we had seen. And one of the films that came to me was a movie called Guinea Pig. And I promptly made a copy of it, and the FBI said, you need to hand over the original tape.
That is Chris Gore.
Damn.
And the tape he's talking about contained a copy of a Japanese horror film from 1985. Back then, as the founder of the infamous Film Thread magazine, he was always on the lookout for the most obscure movies he could possibly find. And the way to do that was to tap into the somewhat underground world of VHS tape trading.
We were trading tapes with so many people, and then the thing is they would send me their weird tapes. That's how we did all of this.
Those tapes would often contain unauthorized copies of movies from all around the world that were either extremely difficult to find or straight up banned in some countries. The kind of stuff you couldn't just find in your local Blockbuster. And while the majority of the movies were just strange or bizarre, one of them felt different.
A real murder.
There was no music, no more than a basic title graphic, and not even the standard practice of opening credits. It almost felt like someone's private home video of a man observing strangers in front of a train station in Tokyo until he eventually sees a young lady and proceeds to stalk her, slowly driving his car behind her, and as soon as they get far away from the busy streets of the city, he chases her down and abducts her. The rest of the movie takes place in some creepy makeshift slaughterhouse, and since I cannot possibly show you what happens next, instead, I'll give you some context with, let's just say, dramatic reenactment.
Cut off the arms, cut off the legs, cut the stomach, cut the head off, cut the eyes out, ate the eyeballs.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, all of that happens, and it is shown in great detail with very intricate close-ups right in your face. The point is, it looked real, so much so that people weren't entirely sure.
I don't know. Well, I don't know, bro. How would you even know if it looks real, though?
And one of those people was no other
than
the
doing
actor
murders?
Charlie Sheen. There are a few different accounts of exactly how it happened, but what we know for a fact is that
the video's
Charlie
not out?
Sheen saw this movie, and because of him, the FBI got involved.
Oh, this guy's a
Well,
fucking
what
snitch.
happened was they took it very seriously. I had all these videos confiscated. I had to be interviewed by the FBI about the.
You think this bitch on YTS? You think I could download this bitch?
The guy who gave me the video got investigated, and it was weird. All I did was just make a copy of a tape and give it to Charlie Sheen.
They weren't the only ones either. Around the same time, a lawyer in Sweden had found that exact same movie and had also reported it to the police. And over in Britain, a man
Death
entering the
Crazed
country
Man
with a
snuff
copy of
movie
it had
chain.
gotten arrested and taken to court because of its possession. Clearly, everyone took this extremely seriously. And looking back at it now, you might think it's a little bit silly, right? I mean, supposedly it's just a movie. But the thing is that those concerns were not entirely unwarranted. In his 1971 book about Charles Manson, author Ed Sanders included an interview with a member of his cult who claimed that they had once videotaped a murder they've committed. It is one of the first uses of the term snuff film, or basically a movie which shows real violence. And while no such video involving Charles Manson had ever been found,
I heard that there was a
urban
video
legends
of
began to
Charles
spread.
Manson
With
where
consumer
he
cameras
was
becoming more widely available back in the
making
70s,
or some
people
shit,
began to
some weird
speculate
shit or
that
something with the
possibility
Manson
of someone capturing
people
the real
related.
stuff
And it was like some
constantly
director's
increasing.
wife or
And
something, and he was
1976,
making her like
after reading
have
an
sex with
article
two
about it,
dudes as he
a
filmed
marketing
or some
savvy
wild
producer
shit,
took
and then like
advantage.
I don't know, it gave reason to something, but then like the CIA
Ending
found it, they got
from
rid of it, or
unreleased
some
low-budget movie he had
weirdo
the
shit
rights
like
to,
that.
And in order to promote it, he hired fake protesters to demonstrate against it in theaters,
I don't know.
and even reported it to the police.
Shit was
himself.
wild in the
As
70s,
soon as
bro.
they
I don't
saw
know.
it, people could
Look
easily
at him, look how
tell
he
it
dressed.
wasn't real.
A different
but
era.
it did make a profit, and more importantly, it brought the idea of snuff into the mainstream. Now, that one was clearly a hoax, but many of the other films that followed continued to push the limits and blur the lines. In 1978, a pseudo documentary called Faces of Death had featured a bunch of different ways to die. And while the majority of those were achieved with practical effects and makeup, there were some real ones too, that the filmmakers had taken from news archives and old war footage. Although it got banned in a number of countries and heavily censored, it grossed over $35 million, and in some cases, it showed people real death on the big screen.
The end of the beginning, or the beginning of the end? I'll leave that decision to you.
What the
Real
fuck does
gore
that mean?
and extreme graphic images were becoming a big debate in society, but the ethics of it were not
You hear that accent? He had
necessarily
some
concern
swag
for the
to him right there. Yeah,
authorities.
society.
For them, it was
Ew.
crucial to know about how that footage was obtained, because going back to Guinea Pig, the movie that Charlie Sheen had reported, it didn't just show
Fucking
a
snitch,
natural
dog. What's
disaster
wrong with him?
or unfortunate accident, but a very premeditated and vicious crime.
Charlie was so shocked upon watching this film. He was so taken aback, he thought he had witnessed an actual murder.
By the time the FBI got involved, they quickly found out that the authorities in Japan had also investigated, because a few years after its release, it got connected to a murder case that had completely shaken the country. In the late 80s, a 27-year-old man had taken the lives of 4 young girls in Tokyo in a way that I don't even want to describe. The police had
Well, you
found
gotta describe it, bro. You got to.
6,000
We're in the movie
videotapes
now.
in his room, and among the many slasher and snuff films was Guinea Pig. Because of how
Damn.
brutal his crimes were, there was a huge public outrage, and many blamed this kind of movies for encouraging and inspiring him.
I'm not gonna lie,
As a
yeah,
result,
probably
the
got some
movie was
inspo.
taken off the shelves. So with all the controversy surrounding it and multiple investigations from all around the world, the main question remains: was it snuff or fiction?
He had the perfect, he had it lined up. He could have just nailed it right there. Was it snuff or bluff? He didn't do it. Why didn't he do it? What the fuck? He had the perfect one-liner, dog. What are you doing?
The straight-to-video market had experienced a rapid growth.
It's like Ben
As a
Simmons,
result
bro.
of the increased
Why you passing,
popularity
bro?
of VHS
The fuck?
tapes that people could just play directly, smaller filmmakers were able to produce low-budget movies with almost no censorship and significantly less restrictions compared to theatrical releases. That allowed directors to push the boundaries a lot, and considering that horror as a genre was already huge in Japan, they certainly did. So, inspired by all this, a young producer would set on to create something that would push the envelope even further. And just like that,
The
Guinea
ultimate
Pig
snuff.
series was born. The first one, Devil's Experiment, he directed himself, and a text in the beginning claimed that it is a real found footage. There were no credits, no title, and nothing that would break the illusion. All that was shown was basically someone being tortured for 40 minutes straight, and the whole shtick about it being authentic worked. The movie did really well on the VHS rental market, so naturally, it was time for part 2, the one that Charlie Sheen had seen, Flower of Flesh and Blood. For this one,
Flower of
however,
Legend
he got
Blood.
the
That
help
shit
of
kinda
the
sound
prominent
crazy, though.
manga artist
They need a Guinea
Hideshi
Pig
Hino.
game, bro. I'd play that
Sometimes
shit. I don't play
referred to
video
as
games. I'd
the
play
king of
that.
horror manga, Hideshi Hino had built a reputation for his deeply unsettling, grotesque, and borderline terrifying images. This was going to be his very first movie as a director, an entirely new creative medium to him that he wanted to bring a certain level of artistry to. He wanted to elevate it, so instead of it just being straight up gore, he incorporated a tiny bit of narrative. Something that might have gotten lost in translation, because in the very beginning, he lays out the premise that a crazy fan of his horror manga had gotten inspired from it and committed this heinous crime, and had sent him a package with photos, videos, and a letter describing it in great detail.
Damn, I'm not
But
gonna
it
lie,
was
he did
so
have it going on though. He had these
graphic
people
that he
tricked thinking
couldn't
it was a real
show it
film.
to
They
us.
fucked up his
So
motion.
instead, what we're
Getting this bitch off the
seeing
shelves.
is his own artistic interpretation. You can feel that there is a style in some of the editing, the colors, the cinematography, and even down to the over-the-top sound effects.
でその後に何か見た人がだからただそれだけじゃないそれから先のね何かをこうイマジネーションしてくれれば面白いんじゃないかなと思うんですけどね。
As opposed to everyone else, Hideshi Hino had never claimed that what was shown was real, but he had done such a good job at making it look convincing that to some people, it was. A year later, the filmmakers released some behind-the-scenes footage and showed exactly how it was done. They've experimented with different techniques, materials, wire work, practical effects, and have created over 50 different body parts until they got it just right. It is genuinely a really good showcase of practical effects, if you're into that kind of stuff, of course. The backlash surrounding it, though, had permanent consequences. In a 2009 interview with Vice, Hideshi Hino shared that because of everything that had happened, the production of his first feature film got cancelled, and it also affected his work as an artist. After talking to the police, he also claimed that what they had found in the serial killer's collection was not his, but a later installment in the Guinea Pig series. In the same interview with Vice, Hideshi Hino recalls a time in which a journalist asked a film critic if this sort of video is really necessary in the world, to which he replied, "No, absolutely not." And it got me thinking. As I was researching the story, I kept asking myself, what is it exactly that draws us into this kind of extreme horror? On one hand, you have people who are very much against it because they argue that it could give us the wrong ideas, and there's some cases.
Yo, you just don't be a fucking weirdo. You just don't go and be like, yeah, let me do that for real. Like, no, motherfucker, you ain't going in there to watch the movie, watch some shit you're never gonna see in your actual life. Make it look real. Oh shit, somebody get murdered, right? But you know the whole time it's a fucking movie. Even if they say at the start, we found the footage, whatever. You're here to see a movie. You know what I mean? You gotta be a fucking weirdo. It's not the movie's fault though. You gotta be a fucking weirdo.
The extent to which
you gotta be sick
exposure
to be like, yeah, let me
material results
let me go
in
cut
actual
somebody.
behavior. What we
Let me
do
get guinea pig on this
is that
bitch.
exposure
Alright,
to this
that's
kind of
fucked up.
material
Should've said
results
bitch.
in a more calloused person, a less sensitive person.
And on the other hand, people can argue that it's morbid curiosity.
They know it's entertainment, they know it's special effects, they get together, they have little parties, they watch these movies, they have a good time. I don't think they're really seeing the undercurrents that a lot of paranoid parents are seeing. If the world be a better place because there weren't horror films, there weren't explicit stalk and slash films, and the world would be at peace, well then burn all the negatives of every horror film ever made, if that's going to be kind of a guarantee, but it isn't.
It is us facing our own mortality, and to bring it full circle, here's a quote from Film Threat, the magazine from the beginning that sort of started this whole story, which says that it somehow makes us feel alive. We like
I don't know about that one. That's a little weird.
We like to feel like we're cheating death by watching movies.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
true. But I don't know about cheating death. I never felt like I was dying in it though. I don't know. That was a good fucking video. Shout out to bro. He got 5 mil on it. Shout out to Tony.